The Dental Brief is brought to you by Omni Premier Marketing and the amazing guests who bring wisdom and advice that you can put to use to take your business and practices to the next level. Find us on Facebook and join the conversation. Get ready to grow because we are kicking off the next episode in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Dental Brief. I am so excited for our guest today. We just had an awesome offline conversation. Can't wait to bring that online. Without further ado, Darius Somekhian, say hello.
Hi, nice to meet you. Thank you for having me today.
Hey, Darius, how did I do on that pronunciation of your name? Did I get it right?
Pretty accurate, actually.
Okay, good. Last name Shavasty here. It's tough. Hate blowing people's names, so I apologize if I did. Again, thanks for being here. Darius, tell us, how'd you get involved in dentistry? How'd you get in this area of expertise?
Dentistry is pretty much all I've been accustomed doing all my life. I've always been on the business side of things. Going back to 1998, I started a dental supply company selling latex gloves from the trunk of my car, sort of story.
Yeah.
And it blossomed to becoming a full dealership. We had an equipment department. We were doing about 15 million a year in total revenue. Along the way, Benco Dental wanted to expand to the Southern California area where we were based out of. We merged together with them, and I ended up being the first boot on the ground for Benco Dental as a territory rep. And that worked out great for 3 years. I got a nice taste of the corporate side of dentistry, working for a family-owned large enterprise organization. Benco Dental is the largest privately owned healthcare distributor in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they just reared close to $1 billion in revenue.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Just in gauze and equipment. 3 years into it, I still had that entrepreneurial chip in my shoulder. So I thought to myself, and my co-founder, Dr. Shervin Malayam, who's a USC periodontist, we came up with the idea of starting the first agency for the traveling in-house dental specialist. We thought to ourselves, a lot of these periodontists and oral surgeons and what have you are traveling, picking up these 1099 arrangements on their own, and they just don't have the time to deal with like setting up the supplies and handling the credentialing and dealing with the consent forms and such. So Pair Dental was born. Our slogan, we pair, you get paid. Offices can enjoy hooking up with pre-screened traveling in-house specialists where they can still work on a 50% of the adjustable collections or production, like, a couple of different ways of calling it. And they don't have to pay any recruiter any upfront fees. We basically get paid for our matching and onboarding services as the match itself works out.
Sure.
Several years into Paradental, we ended up getting acquired by Cloud Dentistry, which is changing the future of how dentistry goes about hiring.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and check out the websites, paradental.com, and then, of course, Cloud Dentistry as well. So let's just kind of jump into it right now. There's, in case somebody just came out of a cave, there's this huge shortage of team members in dental practices, right? This is a problem that a lot of practices seem to be facing. Some seem to be winning this and doing fantastic. We talked about that a little bit offline, but then a good amount of them are not. And there's also seems to be a bit of an issue too, where we were talking about rural dentistry specialists and rural areas is also a challenge. What are some of the more acute challenges that you're hearing? What are some of the things that dentists are talking to you about today?
On the staffing side, it was only a few months ago that the ADA released this economic survey that they did, and they found a third of offices are looking for DAs, a third of other offices are looking for RDHs, another 25% are looking for a front office, and X amount looking for GPs. It's pretty much every office is looking for some human body to come in at this point.
Sure.
The age cohort of under 40 years of age within the dental assisting and hygienist community, the super majority of that is either part-time or temporary. It's never been that way before. Even before COVID, this was a huge issue. COVID just kind of gave the workforce a wake-up call.
Yep.
The app was actually started off a dinner conversation between two dentists and a lawyer 5 years ago before COVID. They were having a chest bumping match over whose life is more difficult, being a dentist or being a lawyer.
Right.
And they were kind of complaining to each other about how difficult it was. And so the two dentists said, listen, staffing is crazy difficult. The lawyer's like, well, how is there no app out there that can help connect the dental workforce with the shared gig economy world, like that we have with Uber in the taxi industry, or Wag to walk your dog?
Sure.
I don't know how many apps people out there are familiar with.
Yeah.
There's literally a shared gig economy app for every industry, but there wasn't one for dentistry.
Yep.
And so our CEO co-founder, Trey Tipichin, he was teaching at Harvard undergrad, macroeconomics. And he was also a litigator that graduated from Harvard Law. And, he literally quit all this overnight to start this app. And I met these guys like 2 weeks after they had the idea. And I thought they were nuts. And I said, craziness usually leads to making a lot of money. So I'll throw in a little seed investment and see where it goes. And lo and behold, here we are today.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Talk to me about the app a little bit. What does the app do? How does it work?
So imagine, I don't know if you're familiar with some of the apps out there like Thumbtack, TaskRabbit, and what have you. An office can go on their profile, and they can view all the professionals that are actively looking for work in that specific zip code. What makes it unique and different compared to like these staffing agencies and recruiters and job boards out there is several factors. Number one, there's no cost to the professional, and offices pay a subscription fee for unlimited messaging and unlimited on-demand bookings. The subscription fee tends to run under $100 a month. It's like a gym membership. There's no middleman fee to inflate the professional's hourly rate. There's no buyout fee in between like recruiters have to police. And it's a lot quicker, more reliable than job boards out there. You don't end up with all these stale resumes because you can see certain features about the professional that lend to accountability, like through the app, how many times they were booked, through the app, how many times they were late, how many times they ghosted an office, and so on and so forth. It's also peer reviewed, so offices rate professionals and professionals rate offices. We've been growing at a staggeringly great pace. There's thousands of offices under the app right now, and 90+% of our subscription is renewal, meaning a lot of offices love it and they come back and renew.
Sure.
We're in about maybe 30 markets or so, I would say. Anywhere from Houston, where we first started, we have, I think the statistic was like almost half the offices there are under a paid subscription right now.
Wow.
All the way to a new market that we just opened up in New Jersey that's really taken off recently.
Yeah.
It's been a joy kind of like seeing this solution brought into dentistry, especially because it's all I've been doing all my life. I'm 42. I started when I was 18 years old.
Wow.
Here I am joining.
So it sounds like you've got a good solve for the logistical issues that are happening, which is fantastic. But let's talk a little bit about more keeping people, right? So actually the app can deliver you someone awesome, but let's talk about how do you keep that person. And I know that, you're an area of expertise is the tech side of this, and you're helping people with these connections, but you also know what works and doesn't. You mentioned before that there's peer reviews. So providers are reviewing the practices that they work for. I get a lot of people that ask me about their online reputation and ask for help with fixing reviews and that sort of thing for them. And my number one way, or the number one piece of advice I always give someone on how to have a good online reputation, is to actually provide a great service, right? Don't be a jerk. That's a pretty good way to make sure that you're getting good online reviews. What are some of these things that people can do that are not logistical to keep team members once they have them? What are some secrets that you know of there?
Well, when we had our dental supply company, I learned from many experiences how to work with employees,
Yeah.
First of all, you got to be nice.
Right.
Especially nowadays, professionals have a lot more options than they do before for work hire. And you have to look out for certain red flags. Like you have to think from a retention frame mind how this person is going to be happy and how you're going to be happy working with them long term. There's certain questions that I would ask in an interview process. If I was a practice owner, I would use assessments to use as like a second step interview. Don't be shy about it. Like this is something that's important for you and them to make sure it's a match.
Right.
Why not look at it from an objective lens?
Sure.
Um,
You talking about things like
there are
disc testing and
right,
Myers and all of that. Yeah.
right. Because at minimum, it'll help the practice owner identify what's important for them in designing what the benchmarks for what they're looking for in that disc assessment. It's important to understand that there's no right or wrong answer going into this. It's not like we're trying to test their aptitude or IQ in all this, right? This is a matching assessment here.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question: when, and certainly I want the audience to check out the app, but you've been around the block a few times, and like you said, there's a lot of headhunters, there's a lot of recruiters, staffing agencies, some with a ton of dental experience, some with no dental experience. They're all over the map. Some good, some bad, some ugly, right? If you're looking for help in this area, and obviously you want people to check out your app, that's great. But how would you vet an expert? What advice would you give before to someone who's saying, no, I want to hire a company. I don't want to use an app. I want to hire a company. What would you give them?
I'd say try everything. I actually tell people when I'm describing the app to them or selling it to a practice owner, we're not the end all solution. We're just an extra resource on top of what you're already doing. You
Sure.
may be using Indeed and that may be working out for you. You may be using a recruiter that you're willing to pay an exorbitant amount of money. It's worth it for you. I'm not saying don't. At the end of the day, both professionals and offices need options. Offices need more options in terms of avenues to hire, and that leads to more candidates they can see, right? And professionals need more options of offices they work at, so they try it out before they buy it.
Sure.
In the sense of where they commit to.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. Tell our listeners, what's the best way to get in touch with a member of your team to learn more about the app?
Sure. Practice owners can visit www.clouddentistry.com or go to the App Store and just download the Cloud Dentistry app. It's free to view all the professionals in your area. You can see everything that you would normally see on a paid account for free. You just can't message or book them until you upgrade to a paid account.
Sure.
Once you create a free account, one of the reps will contact you. If you ever want to reach out to me, my email address is Darius, Darius, @clouddentistry.com. The folks at Pair Dental, you can visit Pair, Pair dental.com. And for professionals, it's always 100% free to join. One of our onboarding team members will contact you once you create a profile.
Yeah, that's awesome. Darius, thanks so much for coming on and sharing with us today.
Thank you for having me today. Appreciate it.
Darius, go ahead and show us what the app looks like.
Yeah, fantastic. I just logged in under a live office account. This is set up as a DSO with multiple locations, so I can toggle in between locations if I wanted to. I'm going to keep it in Dallas, Texas. So you can search the type of professional you're looking for or just keep it to all. Let's say I'm looking for a hygienist. We have thousands of hygienists on the platform. You can sort it by recommended, distance, hourly rate, login. And let me give you an idea of what you're looking at here. So Unzi, I hope I pronounced that right. She's a hygienist that expressed interest in traveling to my practice zip code. She last logged in 5 hours ago and confirmed her schedule a day ago. Compared to the job boards out there, this gives you much less of a, they give you a very broad unit of measurement of time in terms of when they last logged in.
Sure.
They'll say like the guy showed up last week, and that doesn't really help. You get a lot of stale resumes. What you're looking at now is the freemium version. In order to message or book them, you would have to upgrade to a paid account. But since the system thinks that I have a paid account, I'll show you a little glimpse of what it looks like under the booking feature, where you can hire them for a working interview or have them come in as a temp. Of course, you can also message them too and say, hey, this is my phone number. Can I give you a call and discuss everything? and book off the platform. What's unique about our platform, Cloud Dentistry allows disintermediation. So if you wanted to work off the platform, that's totally fine with us. There's no buyout fee. There's no contract in between for us to police. Included with the freemium model for offices is the ability to view the full profile, where you can see their reviews, how many hours they work, their skill sets, their full availability going in future time as well, and the reviews that were left by them and for them. As you can see here, offices rate professionals based on medical competency, punctuality, chairside manner, and the offices are rated based on facility equipment payment. That's everything from the office side. I want to quickly give you a glimpse of what it looks like on the professional side as well. So to give you an idea, it's a dual-sided marketplace, right? We're trying to match up the professional that's looking for work with the employer, aka the office that's looking for work.
Sure.
This is the desktop view of logging in as a dental hygienist. Dana Schmidt is a real hygienist in Denver. We run live CEs for professionals for free. Top-notch KOLs, really interesting topics. They tend to fill up a room with about 1,000 or so hygienists.
Wow.
We are expanding it to DAs as well and other professional profiles. The professional can set when they're available to the hour or by the day. For the first time, dentistry has unlocked this treasure trove of fractional units of time that was never in the labor market before up until now.
Sure.
There was never a platform that was this quick that can work off the hour.
Right.
And they also set their hourly rate. The app suggests what the hourly rate should be in the area if they want to go with the suggestion. That's a real rate, by the way. The average hygienist on our app makes $69 an hour in Denver.
Wow.
Yeah, they're also booked out like 3 months in advance too. You can set how far you want to drive.
That's great.
By the mile. Any offices that overlap in that area that are viewing your that are logged in, they'll only see your profile. They can even set the minimum hours for the shift, and it'll tell you what the minimum is for shifts you get booked for.